Hello everyone, this is Professor Robert Solis. Welcome to this next video lesson. If you are interested in installing Atmel Studio on your computer, this is the procedure that you will go through. Atmel Studio is used for the programming of the Pololo robot. So I want to show you how that works out step by step. So the first thing that you would do is you would do a search for Atmel Studio 7 download, and that will take you to a Google search, and you'll see over here the first listing is Atmel Studio 7 microchip technology. That's the website that we're going to go to. It is within here that we have the ability to download the software. Now you also have to have Visual Studio already installed onto your computer. So this is assuming that Visual Studio is already installed on your computer. Because what this does is it uses Visual Studio as like a back-end IDE, and then this serves as the front end. Okay, so I'm going to click on this hyperlink, and I'll scroll down to the bottom, and you'll see this area over here where it says Downloads, and then it says Atmel Studio 7.0 Web Installer. That's the one that I would recommend that you use. All right, so I'm going to click on this guy, and then you can see over here it says, what do you want to do? And then I'll say, let's go ahead and run this software at the very bottom. And then a couple of seconds will go by. It says Atmel Studio, and then it gives you an option to install. Now, this is where it's going to be a little bit difficult for me to show you what to do because I've already installed the software. So what you would see is you would see 3 check marks over here, and it says, is this what you want? Because there are 3 different items. You'll say yes. Another box will come up. Do you want this software? It has a check mark. You'll say yes, and then it'll begin the installation process. So I'm going to click close because I don't want to install and I don't want to repair. But actually, you know what? I think if I click repair, that's what it'll show you. You'll have all these check marks over here. And then you'll click on next. And then, yep, that's it, Atmel software. And then in this case, mine says repair. Yours will probably say install or something like that. You go ahead and go through that process, install. This usually takes about 10 to 15 minutes to do the complete installation. Okay, so I'm going to cancel out of this. That's part 1 of what you need to do. So while that is installing, and you go through that entire installation process, are you sure you want to cancel? Yes. I'm now going to show you what you need to do at the Pololo website. Now, pretend I don't have this open. Let me just go ahead and create a new tab. I'm using Microsoft Edge on the Windows platform. And I'm going to type in the word Pololo, which is the name of the company that makes the robot, the 3Pi robot that you'll be working on. And I'm going to type in Atmel Studio. And that's all that I need to type right there. Pololo Atmel Studio. Press Enter. And then you'll see all the different listings that it has. I'll just click on this top one over here where it says Programming AVRs using Atmel Studio. And that's what we're doing. We're going to be programming our robot through this mechanism. And you see over here that it has all kinds of stuff. Let's see here at the very bottom. I should have gone to this. Installing Windows drivers and software. So I should have done a search for that. So if you're watching this video lesson from home, really just do Pololo installing Windows drivers and software. That way it takes you directly to where you want to go, which is this page right here. Installing Windows drivers and software. Now, from here, you will see it says download and install the Pololo AVR development bundle. See, what happens is there needs to be a linkage of Visual Studio and Pololo, and also you need the drivers for the 3Pi robot that you're going to be using. Let me just open up another tab. You don't have to do this. I'm going to go to Pololo's website and just show you the robot here that we'll be using, which is called 3Pi. So the 3Pi robot is this one right here. And the IDE that we'll be using is Atmel Studio 7. So in order to be able to do this, and then this also comes with a tiny programmer. Let's see if it shows you on one of these pages over here. That guy right there. That's what they call the programmer. That's actually what you're using to translate or transfer the information from your program on Atmel to the robot. Okay, so let me go back over here. I'm sorry. Let me see if I can find, yeah, here we go. So here's Atmel Studio, but before I do that, I want to go back to the web page that I was looking at. There it is. Pololu AVR Development Bundle. So you'll click on this guy, and it says, do you want to, well, what do you want to do with this? Yeah, let's go ahead and run this. And you can see here that it's downloading it. I'm at 16, 17, so forth and so on. Okay, so when I run this, it will install the necessary drivers so that Atmel Studio will list your robot as one of those robots that you can program. Okay, so when this happens, it will, in fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to close Atmel Studio because this is what I want to do. If I click File, New, Project, which I know we haven't gotten to this yet, do you see over here where it says C++ and Pololu? See, if you just install Atmel Studio, you won't see that. So we need to install the necessary drivers so that you will see C++ Pololu. So I'm going to close this because we haven't. I'm going to step 10, and we're still over here at step 3, which is this guy right here. Okay, so now it says, now that I've downloaded that bundle, I'm going to click yes, that I want to allow this app to take advantage of this. Here's what we need to do. Now I'm going to stop right here. You are going to install this, this, and this. You are going to install all of these. So what will happen is you'll click on install. It'll begin a series of 3 installations, and you're just simply going to click yes to every one of these. You'll install these 3 separate items, and because I don't want to do an obvious reinstall on my computer, you're just simply going to allow everything to install. When you are finished, then you have the library for the Pololu robot in Atmel Studio. Okay? All right, so I'm going to cancel here. You just simply install all these, click yes, 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 yes for all of them. So I'm going to cancel. Now, once you have done that and you've installed all that software, usually what it does is it puts a little shortcut right here on your screen, Atmel Studio. I'm going to assume that it doesn't, and I'll just simply type over here, Atmel Studio, and there it is. So you can either click on that little tiny icon on your screen, or you can do it the way that I just did, which is to open Atmel Studio. Okay, now right now, you can hear my voice on this video recording, and for those of you who are in the class, you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to have to make a separate video at home that, with my iPhone, I'm going to have to record what I'm actually doing with the robot. But for right now, and that's okay. For all intents and purposes, when you have this robot in your hand, you'll be able to work with this. Okay, so later on I'm going to show you how to connect these and how to connect the programmer. But the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to hook this robot and the programmer up to the computer. Okay, so it's simply a USB connector. So I'll just simply connect that. All right, so it's connected. And so because I'm running parallels, it's asking me, do I want to do this on the Mac side or on the Windows side? So I'm going to select the Windows side, obviously. All right, so the first thing that I need to do is when you're in this program, you need to create a project. So as I mentioned moments ago, when you click File, New, and Project, you will see the various options. If you do not see C++ Pololu, then this isn't going to work. So you need to close this and go back to downloading that exe file to install the drivers. For whatever reason, the drivers didn't install properly. They probably did install properly, so we're going to use this Pololu category. The robot that you are using is this one, 3Pi robot with the ATmega 328P. Make sure that you select the 328P and not the 328. Okay, so the 328P is the enhanced microcontroller. What this is basically a microcontroller on your robot. This is what the robot looks like. The microcontroller is on here, and it allows you to program it. This is really cool because we're going to create C programs to be able to control this robot. All right, now it says it's called 3Pi underscore APP2, whatever. I'm just going to put the word erase. You don't have to do this. I'm just reminding myself later on that I need to erase this program that it's creating. So once you've created the name for it, whatever it's supposed to do, you're going to click OK, and then give it a couple seconds, and then it'll actually open up your program. So here's the program, as you can see here. Now there's a couple things that need to take place. I've already connected the cable to my computer. Now you know what USB is. You know what the S stands for USB? Serial, right? So serial communication is different than, say, for example, parallel communication. Serial communication means like walkie-talkie communication. So can both people squeeze the button and talk at the same time? No. One person's talking, the other person is listening, and then typically you say over, and then the other person's talking, and then the other person's listening. So it's only one-way communication. We call this half duplex. Your cell phone is full duplex, right? You're able to talk, like when my wife and I are arguing over the phone, we're both talking and no one's listening, right? That's full duplex. We don't want that. So maybe I should argue with my wife and say, look, let's get the walkie-talkies out. And I want to go to the other room. So only one person's talking and the other person's forced to listen, right? And that's what's happening here with serial communication. You are transmitting or you are receiving at one given time and not both simultaneously. Okay? So in order to establish a line of communication, your computer comes with COM1 or COM2. Actually, it could be COM3 and 4, it could be COM5 and 6. Who knows what the Windows operating system is going to assign? But typically you have 2 serial ports on your computer, and they are abbreviated with COM. Okay? So what we need to do is we need to establish that line of communication with the Windows operating system with our USB port, right? Our USB programmer that's plugged into the USB port. So how do we do that? So first of all, what we're going to do is I'm going to click on on View rather, and let's see here, Available Atmel Tools. So when I click on that, you see over here it gives me a listing. Now notice that I can hide this over here, so I'm going to bring that back to life and click on that push pin so that it stays in place. Now I already have a linkage. I'm going to get rid of that, so pardon me while I right click and remove. What I need to do is establish a line of communication. So the way that I'm going to do that is as follows. With the available tools open, I'm going to right click, add a target. So I add this target, and then it says, okay, so what can I add this, in terms of the serial connected tools? You are going to select STK500. So I select STK500, select serial port. So for me, it says COM5 and COM6. Now, to be quite honest with you, I don't know how to select the one. I thought maybe this was 5 and this was 6, and then another time when I did this, it was swapped around. So it's just one of those trial and error things. We're going to try COM5, and if that doesn't work, then we'll try COM6. Yours might say COM1 and 2. Maybe yours might say COM3 and 4. Who knows? Yeah, question.
You could also check your device manager.
Yeah, I did that too, and it didn't work. I'm not sure what Atmel Studio, but I know exactly. That's a great idea. Check the device manager and see. Oh, this port is selected as COM5. This other one is selected as COM6. Maybe afterwards you can help me, and maybe I'm doing something wrong. So I'm going to show you the process of elimination way, and then if I find out a better way, I'll redo this video to show you a better way. So I'll just select COM5 at first. Maybe that's right. Maybe that's wrong. I don't know. So I'll click Apply. All right. Now I want to see if there is a line of communication with the serial port that I've just hooked up to the computer. I'm going to turn on the robot. So to turn on the robot, and I'll have to show you this a little bit closer. If you were looking at the LCD panel on the left-hand side, the top button. Now sometimes I have to use my pinky because it's kind of hard to put the index finger right there. So I use my pinky. It's right next to the wheel and the LCD screen. I push that, and you heard that little click-click noise. And you see the LEDs on the bottom, and there's a red LED that's flashing. So we know that it's on, and we can also see the display, right? That there's something that's displayed on the LCD screen. Okay, so with that on, now I'm going to do this. So you'll notice over here, is it this guy right here? This says Device Programming. So I'm going to click on that icon, and I'm going to select the tool. That's the one that we just selected, right? COM5. And then you want to make sure of this list. The first time you do this, you're going to have to scroll through this list. And you want to select AT Mega 328p, which I already have selected. Now I'm going to click apply. All right, did you see how fast this information displayed? If that information did not display, and if it's taking about 30 seconds, then a line of communication has not been established. We have to delete this and go to COM6, okay, and try that. Now, I'm going to verify that this works. Now I want you to be quiet, and when I click read, listen for the click click noise. Okay, ready? Did you guys hear that? Okay, now I know that there's a line of communication with the robot. So I'm good to go. Now I can close this. And now here's my program. I can run the program. And what is this thing going to do? It's going to display some information. It's going to play a little tone, and it's going to flash the red LED. It's going to have it a certain amount of time on and a certain amount of time off. So let's see what happens. Now, I know you can't see this on the video lesson, but for the class, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold up the controller like this so that you can see the flashing. Right now, it's a flashing LED. When I click that run button right here, it's going to upload the program, and you'll see a little bit of a flickering, and that's how you know that this thing is actually transferring data. Okay, so let me go ahead and do this, and I'm looking over here. It's a flashing yellow up. Did you see that? The green and the red kind of twittering back and forth. That's how I know that it's transferred information. And so sure enough, here's the LED, and again, I know in the video lesson you can't see this. Here's the LED blinking, right? All right, let's see what happens if I change this a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to 500 milliseconds and change this to 500 milliseconds. Let me go ahead and run this. And looks like there's a little bit of flashing taking place. Oh, do you see how the red LED now has changed its time? Right now it's flashing a little bit slower because you saw the changes that I made on the screen. Okay, so that's if it works. Let me now share with you if it doesn't work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this. I'm going to remove. I'm going to select this guy. Actually, what am I doing? I'm going to right click over here, add a target, and I'm going to on purpose select COM6 and click apply. Okay, so then over here I'm going to select the device programming. I'm going to select this COM6 ATmega 328P, apply. And do you see how long that's taking? So this is what happens, and it's telling me, oh, COM6 is not the right one. It must be COM5. For my computer, maybe it's COM6 for your computer, right? It just depends on the COM port that we connect to, right? You can find that out through the device manager. Okay, that was not it. I need to close this. I'm going to close that. Sometimes it takes a second or two. I'm going to right click and remove. So right click, and it's taking a bit of time here to remove. Okay, let me see here. Right click. See, I have a touchpad on my computer, so right click for me is really a two-finger a two-finger touch here. So let me select this. Up there it is. Okay, so it's just really, really slow. So let me select this. And, oh, wow, just shut down on me. Okay, that's okay. When this comes back up, I know that COM5 is the actual port that we need to work with. So let's go ahead. I just recently created a new, just create a new project again. That's fine. So new project. And Pololu 328P, I'll say erase me. And I need to get rid of that port. So there's the program. I'm going to right click. There it is. Remove. I'm going to right click again. I guess I was being impatient. I right clicked and I had to wait for a while. This Atmel Studio maybe runs a little bit slower when I do that. Or maybe I'm not right clicking properly on here. Add target. I know that I'm going to have to select STK500. I'm going to select COM5. I'm going to click apply. There it is. I'm going to open up this guy right here, which is called the device programming. And I'm going to select STK500 COM5, ATmega 328P. Let me click apply. Okay, that came up, meaning that there is in fact a connection. Let me just verify it. Yeah, I know you didn't hear it, but I just heard the click, click, the little tweet noise. Okay, so now I know that there's a connection. So now let me go ahead and run the program. and then I'm running the program, and I see the little flashing on the controller. That means that an upload of the program has occurred. Now, some students have told me that they've had to uninstall or to disconnect the COM5 and reconnect it again after every single program usage. That may happen. There may be a bug. It just depends on your computer. Some computers you've had to disconnect the COM5, reconnect the COM5. Others, you can just keep it established. So this is the procedure that you will use to establish a line of communication and also the verification that you have that done with the device programming. And then I can give you labs dealing with changing the LED. Maybe we're going to flash the green LED on and the red LED will be off, and then vice versa. So we see this toggling back and forth. In fact, if I do this, I'll just give you a little clue before I terminate this video lesson. If I type in green, oh, look at that. The IntelliSense shows that there's a green LED. Turn on the red LED. Well, it looks like that's a 1. Or in other words, let's see how there's a character, an unsigned character. So the 1 means to turn that on. And so if I say delay, oh, that must be a certain delay. Oh, MS must stand for milliseconds. So I'm going to do that. Delay for 200 milliseconds. And then maybe I want to turn that off. So we'll say green LED, 0. And then we're going to delay that for a certain number of milliseconds. And in this case, let's just say 200. Let me get rid of that extra parentheses. And then I'll put a semicolon over there. So I'm going to upload the program. I just heard a little click. And now you can see, now for those of you in the class, you can see the green LED and the red LED blinking back and forth, right? Because you saw the program that I just inserted, right? This is the kind of experimentation that you're going to be going through for the next several weeks, playing around with the LED, playing around with the timing, playing around with the various notes. In fact, you heard that da-da, right? And it was kind of fast. Well, that 32 right there means 30-second note. So what if I change that to an 8th note, and I change this to an 8th note? And so now when you listen to the video lesson, you should hear this. So if I'm going to click run, did you guys hear that? Da-da. Let me play it again. Did you hear that slower? Because that's an 8th note. So what do you think is going to happen if I make that a quarter note or a half note? Right? It's going to slow it down. So if it was a 30-second note, you heard initially that da-da. And that was the note G and the note C. Well, what if I change those around? So if I make this one, say for example, C8, and I make this one G8, right? So in music you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So let's see what happens now when I play this. Right? So it changed it a little bit. What happens if I type in an A here and play it or run it? Okay, so it's changing it a little bit. Are there ways that I can change these notes to maybe go an octave lower, 2 octaves lower, an octave higher, 2 octaves higher? Can I change the timing? Can I create songs from this? Right? That's what you'll be investigating with the additional labs. This video just gets you started if you're going to install Atmel Studio on your computer in addition to the Pololo 3Pi drivers that I've just demonstrated in this video. Okay. So this is Professor Robert Solis. I hope this video lesson was helpful. Have a good day. See you next time.